Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. A dark subject today, but, equally as important, very, very dark subject, because I'm talking about the sort of, what else can one call it, the massacre that's going on in both Benue and as well as Plateau State. So much so that the president has given marching orders to, security elements to make sure that they come on top of this situation. We can't continue. 52 persons were reportedly killed Sunday night attack in Zike Hamlet. That's in Plateau State, and the killings extended beyond that. But just before we go launch into the conversation, let's look at this background report.
Corpses of victims killed in the midnight invasion were recovered and taken back to the community. We sighted others by the roadside laying on the ground. The atmosphere in the Kwal community is that of wailing, soberness, and anger as we witness. The assurance given by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu that the attack that killed over 60 persons in Bokos weeks ago will be the last to be experienced in the state has been altered. Some leaders of the community and eyewitnesses narrated their ordeals.
They started shooting, they burnt houses, they macheted people, and as I speak, we have recovered about 51 dead bodies on ground. And then we are still searching. I will not say that is the end, but we are still searching on other corpses around the bushes.
One of the houses, 8 people were killed. The whole family were massacred. The father, the mother, and the children, 8 of them. They are still in their room now. If you go there, you will see. So it is quite unfortunate that this thing is still reoccurring in this state and in this local government.
From last year, if I will give you the account of women that lost their husband, we have about 570 something women that Fulani people killed their husband. We have so many widows and orphans in this community. So we are tired. This thing enough is enough.
With the development, it is now recorded that over 100 lives were lost just within 2 weeks in Plateau State following gunmen attacks. Workable measures should be employed by the authorities to put an end to this recurring situation across selected communities in the state. Funom Joshua, TVC News, Kwal.
Okay, thanks to our reporter there. And let me now introduce our guests. Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi is our guest. He's joining us from our Abuja studio. Dr. Shinkafi is Executive Director of Patriots for Advancement of Peace and Social Development. A fine morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Yori.
Yes. Thank you very much for making the time for us. Let me get your, get your comment first of all on the tragedy, which started on Sunday night. I mean, the latest iteration of it. This has been a long-going affair, so much so that the president, perhaps in exasperation, has now given marching orders to all the security forces to get to the bottom of this, make sure that they catch, they determine who was behind it and indeed do the justice to the situation. Let me start off by taking, Dr. Shinkafi, your view on all of this.
First and foremost, let me use this opportunity to extend my condolence messages to the good people of Plateau State and the government of Plateau State about the brutal killings of over 100 innocent lives by unknown gunmen, or I can say armed bandits. This is quite unfortunate and disheartening. This situation of killings, blood-letting, displacement of innocent people in Plateau State has been quite in place for over 2 decades. And the resurgence of these killings, it is highly alarming, and the government need to step step in and make sure that the killing has been stopped drastically. The visit of National Security Advisor, when the last 2 weeks an attack was launched in Bokos where more than 80 people were killed, he gave assurance that is the end of the killings. But the reverse is the case. What happens on Sunday in Bassa local government, it shows that the government need to sit off and live up to their expectation according to the section 14 subsection 2 of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. So the killings and the genocide and massacre of innocent life cannot be tolerated in a civilized society where we have security apparatus who are being entrusted to take charge of this crime and criminality in the society. So it is quite unfortunate the marching order given by Mr. President. Mr. President has been given series of marching order to security agencies. It has not changed the narratives. But there should be a homegrown solution where the governor and the community leaders will sit down and look at what are the root causes of the conflicts for about 2 decades.
Indeed. Indeed.
So the issue of the insecurity.
Sorry, I was going to say the root cause, as you said, we've got to get to the bottom of this whole affair. But here we are saying that unknown, unknown killers, unknown gunmen, maybe bandits. How difficult is it really to ascertain the identity of those who are in this diabolical act? How much of it is, do we really want to address the issue if we are saying that we actually don't know them? So we're talking about unknown gunmen.
Yeah, you see, a lot of people call them armed bandits. Some people call them Hulani headsmen. Some people call them militia. Some even call them Boko Haram and ISWAP. So the government has to go into the bottom of the matter. That is the root cause of the conflict for over 2 decades. If I can refresh your memory, in 2004, President Obasanjo declared state of emergency for 6 months while he suspended the governor and legislatures and bring an army general, Mohammed C. Ali, to take over the mantle of the leadership of the state, and where the security has been restored for the period of 6 months. A lot of people have condemned the act, but the issue of killings and the just riot, which has taken place in around that period, has now bring a restored peace in the state. But what we are saying, the issue of conflict in Plateau State is different, is highly dimensional. For if you look at the other places, looking at the Plateau State is a mini Nigeria where you have more than 50 ethnic groups, and the root cause of the conflict, it comprises of ethno-religious crisis, herders and farmers crisis, indigenous and settlers or outsiders crisis, political and economic reasons, illegal mining, and a lot of root causes. So all these root causes must be addressed. All hands must be on deck. Okay. Both the governor, the president, and also the community leaders and religious leaders. You see, the major tribe, Birom, Pulani, and Gas, and Tarok, are the major tribes in Plateau State. And that is this ethno and a religious crisis. You can't take it away from Plateau State. An issue of settlers and indigenous. You can't take it away. And the illegal mining. That is the economic interest. So these are some of the root causes need to be addressed.
Indeed. So it's
Farmers
like...
and headers clashes.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, the security people have their work cut out for them. Thank you very much, Dr. Shinkafi. You know, as you have sort of outlined this whole matter. Now, we also are being joined by Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze, who is a business and security consultant. He joins us via Zoom from the U.S. Good morning to you, Dr. Anakwenze.
Yeah, good morning, this morning.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, you heard what we're talking about, the marching orders. And, you know, Dr. Shinkafi has said that, well, regrettably, the president has given marching orders in the past. They were reassuring at the time, but in the event, not very much changed. So give me your impression, if you will, Dr. Anakwenze, about the latest phase of the tragedy that continues to befall us as a nation regarding Plateau and Benue states.
It's not just Plateau and Benue State, it's nationwide. We have to talk about the whole thing comprehensively. My opening remark is to let people know what I'm for. I'm a medical doctor in America and have master's in business administration and public health, and I'm a doctor of medicine. In Nigeria, I'm an agro farmer. I own big farm, 4 miles wide, cultivating rice, cassava, and we have a lot of animals like pigs and fish. So that's what I do in Nigeria. In America, I'm a doctor. I'm in charge of 5,000 medical doctors. So I'm trained in medicine and I'm trained in business. Overall, what we're looking for in Nigeria is a democracy with freedom for everybody. Nigerians and Africa as a whole, we want a Nigeria where all the various ethnic groups have a stake in the country future. We envision Nigeria where leadership is based on merit, hard work, fairness, and accountability to all. We want a country, Nigeria, where regardless of ethnic and religious background, they feel like they're part of the country, part of the equation. So I will be this, you know, I'm a businessman, you know, I've been given an address, I spoke last week. You can't have economic growth when you don't have strong security. Nobody will come to invest. And then I will talk about tourism later. Nobody's going to visit when they will be kidnapped and shot. I spoke that our armies need to be trained properly, and the police, they need to be trained properly using drone and helicopter technology. They need to enforce peace in Nigeria. If you can't do it in Nigeria, then where can you do it? The whole world, black world, depends on Nigeria to be the superstar, to be the brother, senior, first son of all black people. We have to get it right.
What do you make? What do you make? I beg your pardon, doctor. What do you make of the fact that we are saying that these are unknown gunmen? We don't know who the culprits of this, you know, tragic incidents are. What do you make of that?
I don't accept that. I know the major part of it is people sponsored who are not Nigerians, who are coming from Central African republics, from Cameroon, from Niger, Republic, Mali, Fulani herdsmen. They are coming in to take lands that don't belong to them. So they're killing local farmers to occupy their land. And that cannot be. I spoke about this last week, and I'm speaking it again. All the villages with chiefs and king structure must be adequately armed to protect their lives and properties. If the town is not strong enough, then the local government should be. We need to stop talking about talking. This is real threat. People are in our bush. Everywhere you are, they're in the bush. And then when people go to farm, they're killing them. That's why you're hungry. You're hungry because the farmers are afraid to go to the farm. When they go, they kill women and children and they rape them. That cannot be tolerated anymore.
Okay.
We have to stop that.
Dr. Shinkafi, what do you think of this whole position? As we are talking about, as we are saying we don't know who they are, as you will recall, reports said that some of the, eyewitnesses and some of the actual victims had reported that they were speaking Fulfulde, and people have also responded to that by saying that, look, Fulfulde is not necessarily just, the language of the Fulani, like that. So there have been defense, submissions for them. How important is this in terms of getting to the bottom of this whole matter? And if you will, Dr. Shikafi, maybe there was a time we were talking about these ranches, that we had to stop this whole matter of, free ranging of cattle. Would you like to comment on this briefly, please?
Yeah, you see the issue of labeling them unknown gunmen is a slap to the internal security intelligence gathering. It's a slap to securities. We have the DSS who are entrusted with the responsibility of having an intelligence gathering, internal intelligence gathering. So for anybody to be calling the unknown gunmen, it means the ungoverned spaces in the rural area, there was no anybody representing either security agencies or the government or the community. There should be an internal security gathering to know where these criminals are coming from. Even if they are speaking Fulfulde, as I have said earlier, predominantly statistical, if you look at the statistic of the population of the settlers or outsiders, are Fulanis and Hausa and other tribes. Most of them are predominantly, the outsiders are Muslims, and some of them are Fulani and Hausa Fulanis. So anybody can speak Fulfulde, whether they're Fulani from Adamawa or from Jos or from anywhere, can speak Fulfulde. But what we are saying, that is failure in this internal security gathering. Because if the DSS have stood to their assignment, I think they're in a good position to give an internal security gathering to the action agencies. Then the action agencies will now act. But in the absence of, even if the DSS gave an internal security gathering to the action agencies and they failed to act, then that is where we can now look at where the problem is going on. And the Operation Safe Haven, maybe there were no deployment of adequate security agencies in that area. There is Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State, and in that particular maybe community, there's an open, ongoing space. And that is how this now criminal will now come and perpetuate this crime and criminality when there's an ongoing spaces, or if the security are not living up to their expectations. These are some of the challenges. Then on the issue of the farmers and the headers clashes, there should be a lot of places now in advanced country. If you go to Ethiopia, you will see there is planning in Ethiopia. There is planning in Egypt. There is planning in Central Africa. But they are have turned this cattle rearing as a commercial enterprise. So now they have modernized the issue of cattle rearing to a grazing. They have a range where they will now do like a ruga, where all these planning will now put their cattle. They will now plant a very good grass, which will be good for the breeding, for the cattle breeding. So these are some of the challenges. The government has to keep to their expectation on providing security. Mr. President, as a commander-in-chief of armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, must invoke the section 114 subsection 2B to make sure that the security of life and property is assured in each and every segment of the states. Looking at what is happening in the Northwest, north central, northeast, even part of southeast, southwest, north central. Nobody is safe.
You know, yeah, okay.
And looking at also the numbers of the security personnel, all put together, the army and the police and other security agents are not more than 2 million. Look at the size of the population and the land mass in Nigeria.
Yeah. Dr. Anakwenze, as you might realize, the Ruga, arrangement that was spoken about, it hasn't gone down well, I believe, with Fulani herdsmen, simply because it's not their tradition. I don't think it's any more complex than that. That, look, they are used, I think it's been going on for maybe hundreds of years, at least definitely for scores of years, where, they're free-ranging, they're traveling with their cattle, and this has always brought strife because, they follow water routes and they follow feed routes. Can you speak to that? Because some reports I have heard have said that, look, this is not the way we do our thing. And this modern thing, this newfangled thing that is coming about in 2024, 2025, or as far back as maybe 2022, 3, when the idea of Ruga was muted, the Fulani herdsmen don't like it, simply because it's not part of our custom. What can you say about that?
Regarding that, I have said my own idea is this, that those cattle should be raised in the north, like in Kano. That's why I said the train should connect all the state capitals. Train should connect all the train capital in Nigeria. Overnight, you ship them in the train. They arrive in all the capitals in the morning, and they're eating. Nobody will tolerate anybody coming and going through somebody's farm because you don't like it. You don't want doing it a different way. No, people who have farms like me don't want anybody coming and eating my corn and my yam and my pineapple and my rice. We don't want it either. So we have to work out a solution. A solution is for them to be raised in the north. I went to the north when I campaigned. They have huge land. They have so much land, 3 times or 4 times more than the south. They don't need southern land. They have so much land you will drive and drive until your eye goes blind. So we can help them irrigate the land, grow the grass, raise it there, move it by train to where they need to go. We like cow. We are not against cow, but we don't want somebody raising cow, raping our women, killing our people. Farmers are afraid to go to farm. That's why you have hunger, because all the people farming can't go to their farm to farm anymore. We cannot tolerate that. We cannot adjust to somebody to bring their cow and eat our food. And we people who are farming, they are farming because they eat and they use it to raise their children and use it to pay hospital bill. You cannot let somebody do this so that somebody else will suffer. That have to stop. We've come to the end of that. And that's why I told you all the towns have to be armed, supervised by the police and security. All the kings needs to be made in charge. The vigilantes of all the villages and town unions and local government have to be armed, supervised by the police and security agencies, including DSS. That's the solution.
Okay. Dr. Shinkafi, leaders are beginning to think about, in the areas, are beginning to talk about, look, people, in fact, I think the governor, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb Mutfwang, and indeed perhaps Hyacinth Alia, have begun to talk about people need to stand up for themselves. We can't just be lying there and people just run, all over us and kill us and do all the horrible things that have been said. I don't know. There are those who are saying that if Nigeria was like America, for example, and I selected America just because you have the right to bear arms there, category of arms. There are people who are now beginning to say that, not that they are suggesting come with arms. But they are saying defend yourselves. So we can't just leave it now and not defend ourselves. I've even heard, the former way back Chief of Army Staff saying that we need to defend ourselves now. As we are speaking, Christian leaders have said that they are arranging a protest for this weekend. Now, these are Christian leaders, so the bent of that is somehow this is against us. So this is a very delicate situation, and we have to be very, very careful how we go about it, lest we find ourselves in a situation that we never intended. But it's beginning to look like it's Muslim, it's Christian, and these are in some way connected. It's Fulani, it's not Fulani. So all of these are problems, are they not? And so whoever is in charge of trying to get to the bottom of this, a la Mr. President's marching orders, they certainly have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, you see, Nigeria is being governed by laws, and there is firearms prohibition laws, and it has clearly spelled out who are entitled to bear arms in Nigeria, to possess arms. So in the Firearms Prohibition and Possession Act, it has clearly spelled out it is only the President or the Inspector General of Police has the right to approve the possession of firearms to citizens. And all the firearms, rifle are not allowed, AK-47, AK-49, pistol are not allowed to be possessed. Only double barrel for gaming and hunting. So unless and until that Firearms Prohibition Act is been amended, where a citizenry or an ordinary citizen can bear an arms.
Because ordinary citizens are the victims. Ordinary citizens are the victims, are they not?
Unless and until the law has been amended, the law is still subsisting. It's still in force.
It's just that the bandits, the unknown bandits, don't pay any attention to these laws. Sorry, sir.
But on the issue of community policing, the governors can do a community policing through a legislation in the State House Assembly. If the governor of Plateau State and Benue State can copy from what the governor of Katsina State, Zamfara State did, and even what the civilian JTF in Borno State and Yobe State did, they can do it through the legislation. But it is not allowed by Nigerian laws for ordinary citizens to bear arms. These are criminals. They are criminals. You understand? They were not allowed by law to bear arms, but they are criminals. If they have been arrested, they must be prosecuted according to the law of the land.
All right. I'll tell you what, I'll just take a break now.
There's a proper
sorry, Dr. Shinkati. I'll just take a break now, and Dr. Anakwenze, I'll be back and we'll continue this conversation. Do please stay with us. Okay, welcome back. President Tinubu gives marching orders over Plateau and Benue killings. My guests are Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi, who is the Executive Director of Patriots for Advancement of Peace and Social Development. He's in our Abuja studio, and all the way over in the U.S., joining us by Zoom, is Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze. He's a business and security consultant. Let me come to you, Dr. Anakwenze. The matter has become so serious that people are now being advised by their leaders, even some elected officials, to look, in the meantime, because when you are attacked, even if you're able to make a call across to whoever, it does take time for them to come. And those people, those people don't tarry. They don't tarry. They come they do the damage, they wreak havoc. Now, when people are saying that we should defend ourselves, that actually we have the right to defend ourselves, the question is, with what? Dr. Shinkafi has just explained the law, and we know about that. But how does one defend oneself against the most common firearm, an AK-47, when you yourself are not by law allowed to have that? And people coming to attack you, raid you, know that you can't have. Most people are law-abiding. And so we are not law-abiding. We are bandits. We are whatever we want to call ourselves. So we can go to a community with a high percentage of surety that they can't defend themselves. They're going to be helpless. So going to this question of we need to begin to defend ourselves, my first question is, how do we go about that? And Christian leaders, you know, in Plateau have announced that they're going to be, you know, holding a protest this weekend. They've asked people to come to church in black, and after some time they come in white and they come in red, all of which are symbolic. So people are really trying. Give me your thoughts on this. This whole question of we must defend ourselves. How?
It's been done in certain parts of the country already. I want to start by telling you that all those Fulani herdsmen that are killing women and children, they have AK-47. The law that's being cited is in the book, but they come all over the country with AK-47. You have to be a fool to sit down and don't do something when somebody is coming in and killing women and children and raping them with AK-47. You have to find a solution to that. The solution is to defend yourself.
With what? With what, sir?
Wait, I haven't landed. They talked about civilians bearing arms against the law. I'm not talking about civilians, I'm talking about vigilantes, people trained by the police and DSS. That's what I'm talking about. And where I'm from is we have state assembly pass the law all the time. Most of the towns in where I come, Anambra, we have vigilantes, they work with the police. A lot of time, they're the one protecting the police. A lot of time when these criminals come, the police run away. The vigilante are the one that steps up and defend the police station from being burned down. It's already been done. Through the state legislature, they passed law that creates vigilantes. I'm not talking about civilians. I'm talking about trained people by the police, trains them. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we have to do. That's the direction we have to go. If you're waiting for police to come from 100 miles, you're wasting your time. You need local people there who will work with the police, who will call the police.
Okay. Elder David, good morning to you, sir. Elder David, can you hear us? Good morning. Elder David, can you hear us?
Good morning, Jory. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, sir. You've got to lower the volume of your TV set. Elder David, please mute the volume of your TV set, Elder David.
I'm hearing you, sir. I'm hearing you, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm hearing you.
Yes, but...
I'm hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Well...
I'm hearing you.
Make your TV set volume low.
I am hearing you, sir.
Okay, continue, sir. Go ahead, please. Go ahead, sir. You see, Elder David, what I'm trying to say is that you can't listen to us.
I cry like baby when I see what is happening in Plateau State. Yes, because though this problem started with Daddy and Mato, I don't know. The best way to live in the north is Plateau State. In fact, what is happening there, I pray God will actually intervene of what is happening there. It's the same thing with Benue, which are Benue Plateau State. These people killing people, are they freed from up? When we are talking of Fulani herdsmen, if only Fulani herdsmen that are actually involved in all these things, it's a question we should ask ourselves. Let us be very truthful. There are other militants in all those places too, because of land. They are trying to destroy the generation. Yeah, the generation of tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, we all shall die, return back to where we are, become a sand. You cannot blame government. The police and army that are there have been willing Some people are involved who are in government. Who will give arms to these people? How do they get the arms? Does the arm fall down from heaven or from up? It is one of those politicians that actually engineering them. But God will expose them. Let Nigeria condemn what is happening there. It's a child play. All right, you go to Kaduna. Is it the same problem? What of Katsina? What of Niger State? What are we talking about? In fact, it's very, very unfortunate.
Okay.
May God save us. May God bless us.
Thank you very much for calling in, Elder David. Dr. Shinkafi, your reaction? Your reaction to that kind of a sentiment? That actually politicians are involved. I'm addressing Dr. Shinkafi.
Yeah, some of these things, I have said it earlier, some of these things has some political undertone and economic also undertone. I have made mention of some politician maybe had that because state of emergency has been declared in Plateau State, they want to use also other way around to cause havoc and killings in Plateau State, Benue State, Zamfara State, and many states across Nigeria, so that the APC government will now declare state of emergency for political reasons. So it may have some political undertone. And you know now, 2027 is around the corner. Some politicians may heartlessly also use it to also blackmail either the governor in the state or the government at the center. So both the government at the center and the state government have to live to their expectation to make sure that the lives and property are being protected in line with the provision of the Nigerian Constitution. Looking at what is happening in Benue State and Plateau State, their problems are different. Benue State is the issue of farmers and herdsmen and often grazing and armed bandit and cattle rustling. Then on the issue but in Plateau State, the problem is more complex and more compounded. I said it earlier. There's issue of settlers and the indigenous. The issue of settlers and indigenous, there should be a constitutional amendment to amend the section of the Constitution by a person to be a citizen of a state should be by residency, not by indigenous. So that issue of settlers and the indigenous is one of the root factors for more than 5 decades in Plateau State. Then the issue of religious. Because looking at the size of the ethnic group in Plateau, it is very difficult to contain this issue.
All right.
So it has
I have someone wanting to join the program is Mr. Joshua calling in from Irewolide. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to your guests. My condolences to the people who have lost their lives in Benue and Plateau and across everywhere in the country, Uncle Yori. Bandits, kidnappers. I mean, these stories are overwhelming. And psychologically, I think Nigerians we are traumatized that every time you want to watch the television, what you are greeted with is dead bodies, people wailing. You know, over time, the sanity of the people will be affected. And you will just discover that most people are sick already in Nigeria. For me, I will start from the president. I was glad that we voted for a president who has education, who can read and write, so to say, and who can interpret figures. The greatest problem, Uncle Yori, in Nigeria is that we don't tell ourselves the truth. We speak from both sides of the mouth, lying everywhere, lying. We lie. Sometimes we will say headsmen. Meanwhile, they are locals. Meanwhile, sometimes these people are fighting, maybe even called rivalry. You say they are headsmen. And you say, see, I grew up in the village, Uncle Yori. There is no amount of power that any headsman has back there in the village when I was there, that they can overwhelm us without the locals, right? Without the locals conniving with them. Without the locals. I mean, you have a community, you have a king, you have everything, you are the owner of the land. You know your terrain more than the visitor that is going to come. So the headsman is a visitor in your environment. We know, you see, they can dig a hole somewhere that will consume anybody who is not a part of that community. And then you will just wake up one day and say, Fulani headsmen came. They wiped out everybody. From where? Did they come from the sky? Right? Did they come from the sky? Did something drop them from the sky? And the government that has monopoly of power. The government has power in the air. The government controls information. Government controls gun. Government controls everything. Who is more violent than the governor? Please, Mr. President, we voted for a man who has education. We voted for a man who can interpret figures. We voted for a man who cannot be deceived by somebody who is clever, telling him to go here and then the road is the other way. The president should rise up and behave like an academic person. Somebody who is an accountant, a mobile, someone who works in mobile. Like the world is at his feet. When Tinubu was in mobile, he was there, he deployed technology to run the system there. You can't even enter mobile from security. You can't enter that place. You're as far back as 1991 or 92, right? You can't enter mobile. Their security is so tight. The president should do something about this nation. What is all these ragtag people going, jumping up and down and dominating your nation? And we are not ashamed. We should tell ourselves the truth, Uncle Yori, and take care of this problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. Pained Mr. Joshua calling in from Irewolide. Most of the country feels that particular way. And to come back to you, Dr. Anakwenze, you said that, you said it before, I believe, I hope it is your turn, because I'm alternating between Dr. Anakwenze and Dr. Shinkafi. And the point had been made that, look, investigate this matter, look into, just like Mr. Joshua just said, it's going to be very difficult to be overwhelmed by visitors if there is not collusion by, people of your own house, like the enemy within. I don't know. There are all sorts of angles, so that really, I don't know, the president's marching order, it looks like it does require some sort of research so that we get to the bottom of what exactly is going on, because we can't address this matter if we don't know what is causing it. And so far, we're not being plain. We're not speaking plainly, I don't believe. That's the former speaker alluded to that. So how easy do you think it's going to be for us to, indeed, as Mr. President put it, obey the marching orders that have been given us?
Anyway, like I said, I know I was talking about the Fulani herdsmen, which is the most dangerous. We know we have locals. We have locals who kidnap people too, who do things, but we're able to crack down on them. If you look at Anambra State, the villagers know who they are, and the governor have a team of army, police, vigilantes. They are going after them, tearing their houses down, taking their hotels down, their own hotels. They have houses, they are tearing it down, they are chasing them, they run away from Anambra State and they went to other states. That one we can deal with. We know who they are, the villagers know who they are, and they tell the government, the army, the police, the vigilantes work together, and they run them out of town. That one is easy. But the harder one is somebody with AK-47 living in the bush and striking when you sleep. That's what's more dangerous.
It is. Dr. Shinkafi, as he said, this is the big problem. The caller who called in from Irewolide, Joshua, his first allegation is that we simply don't want to tell ourselves the truth. Well, I don't need to say anything more about that. Insinuated in that remark is that we're not being plain, and so we're just going to be going around in circles. It's different if you were to say that investigations have led to the, to the revelation of the fact that this person or that person was in charge, and as the president seems to want, we will visit those people with the full weight of the law. Do you think also there's sense in those who are saying that we don't want to go as far as that? Let it be a bit more obtuse, a bit more, intricate. We don't want plain yes or no.
No, you see, there is an enemy within, as what the caller have said, because most of these attackers or invaders had their informant within the local communities who gave them valid information on the community and how they are going to also strike in the community. So these informants are more dangerous even than the invaders or the armed bandits, because some of these informers are enemy within. They provide vital information, whether security are in social place or in social place. And also some of these informants are even logistics suppliers. They supply arms and ammunition to the hideout of this armed bandit or militia. Some of these informants also are aiding and abetting them in sewing army, police uniform, fabricating arms, supplies, ammunition, and many other things. So some of the locals are accomplices in this crime. So the Mr. President, who is the commander-in-chief of armed forces of the people of Nigeria, he took an oath of office and oath of allegiance to uphold the letters of Nigerian Constitution. So he has to do everything humanly possible to make sure that security is restored in these affected areas. Okay. And that should be a check and balances. If you look at the Nigerian budget, for the first 1.5 decades, security and defense took a lion's share of a Nigerian budget. But it has not mismatched with the performance of the security agencies. So that should be a technological advancement instead of conventional fight against this crime and criminality. So there should be a forensic auditing on how this money are being channeled in this fight against crime and criminality. And looking at also there should be a more deployment of the air force in the plateau, because it's mountainous area. So of the place are not motorable. So there should be a deployment of jet fighters to fight this criminal in their hideouts.
All right.
And the use of also drones and other advanced technology.
Okay.
At the crime.
Yes.
So Mr. President marching order or condemning the attacks is not enough.
All right.
The Nigerians are tired of hearing Mr. President condemning attacks, giving marching orders. Buhari have been giving this marching order. Jonathan gave marching order. Tinubu gave even marching order, saying he wants crime and criminality to end December 2025.
Yes.
But it has nothing to write home about.
Well, okay. Well, we're gonna have to leave it here, really. I want to thank you very much, Dr. Shikafi. Of course, there's also an economic aspect to it, because food, I think it was Dr. Anakwenze who had said that,
I have made mention of economic aspect of it because of illegal mining going on in Jos.
Exactly. Well, as I said...
Yeah, and the governor has suspended all mining activities. So it may be diversionary.
Well, we've run out of time. Dr. Anakwenze, did you want to add a last word, because we got to go now? The effect this is having on food.
The God have given us everything that he can give to anybody. God gave us gold, diamond, silver, oil, gas. God gave us yam, cassava, millet, rice. God gave us rain 9 months in a year. God have blessed us more than any people in this world. We need to invest in our young people, youth. They are the ones that will save us. All these old people are corrupt. We need to invest and train our children in education and infrastructure and go back to farming.
All right. I'm afraid we've completely, so sorry, Dr. Nwachukwu Anakwenze, we've completely run out of time, but I do want to thank you for joining us via Zoom, as I do thank you too, Dr. Sonny Abdullahi Shinkafi. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on our program this morning. Really appreciate you. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. That's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folani. Bye-bye for now.